Truth meet consequences. That's the focus of tonight's angle. All right, if you thought New York was bad under Big Bird de Blasio, with the crime, the drugs, the filth, the anti-police insanity, you ain't seen nothing yet, people. Because after last night in the Democrat mayoral primary, a committed socialist, 33-year-old Zohran Mamdani, he won big. Former rapper came out of nowhere, forced former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo to concede in the four-way race. As of the last count, Mamdani is up over Cuomo by 7 points.
It's where the mayor will use their power to reject Donald Trump's fascism, to stop mass ICE agents from deporting our neighbors, and to govern our city as a model for the Democratic Party.
Zohran's a Muslim, and his views are staunchly anti-Israel. If he wins the general election, Mamdani would be the most left-wing person to ever serve as a mayor of any city in the United States. His views are far closer to communism than Clintonism. This guy makes AOC look like a moderate. He wants government-run grocery stores, plans to make public buses free, is pledging to freeze rent prices, and wants to borrow $70 billion for more affordable housing. Now, in the past, he's called to defund the police, to ban all guns, create safe injection sites for drug use, and decriminalize sex work. Oh, and end all cooperation with ICE. That's a given. He's even too much for the New York Times. Well, typical of Gen Xers, Mamdani has replaced thinking with feeling, and he won big among the young vote. And he feels that New Yorkers should be guaranteed just all sorts of freebies. How to pay for this doesn't matter. As Ron DeSantis, who joins us later, posted a few days ago, just when you thought Palm Beach real estate couldn't go any higher. Yeah, people are going to move there. Well, how did we get here? Well, it didn't happen overnight. The prelude was long, but things began to really deteriorate when establishment Democrats essentially stopped working for the average American person and started working for Wall Street. Notice where Mamdani's support came from. According to an analysis in the New York Times, his voters came from mostly white, wealthy enclaves. And all over social media, you see young people celebrating. But he was less successful among black voters who are increasingly supporting Trump's economic and immigration views. Look, for more than 25 years, under the policies of globalization, the American middle class was slowly hollowed out and largely left behind. Salaries stagnated, their cost of living skyrocketed, and their job prospects teetered. For their part, Republicans cleaned out most of their failed old guard and elected Trump. But the Democrats didn't do their house cleaning. Since Bill Clinton left office, they've drifted. Obama was all swagger, no results. Biden, a total embarrassment. Kamala, even worse. And the only excitement came from the squad and the fights they were picking with Trump. In 7 short years, AOC became the closest thing to a thought leader in the Democrat Party. And instead of standing up to her silly socialism, though, big money Democrats like Michael Bloomberg were scared and silent. Wealthy liberals ignored the cancer developing in the Democrat body politic, the cancer of anti-Americanism, anti-capitalism, and anti-Semitism. They shrugged their shoulders and thought, this too shall pass. When law enforcement were berated and smeared, even attacked by some young people, those people who marinate in anti-law enforcement propaganda. Now, they refuse to pull their kids out of elite private schools that promote the nutty, we're living on stolen land claptrap. They treat George Floyd as a modern-day saint. They treat deportation as a crime against humanity. That, of course, they have to tell their kids, how racist our founders were. So, of course, these young people have given up on the American system, and they gravitate toward any shiny new object. In this case, Mamdani. He's just an anti-establishment avatar, though, isn't he? Trashing Trump, promising a bunch of free stuff, zero experience. But old-line Democrats are so lost and so weak, they simply cave. Poor old Chuck Schumer doesn't even try to stand up for New York capitalism or urge a more moderate path. He praised Mamdani for running an impressive campaign that connected with New Yorkers, but he stopped short, at least for now, of giving him an endorsement. He's in a total bind. But it's official. The Democrat establishment is already surrendering to socialism. A few of the old Clinton Democrats are worried. Larry Summers, though, today said he's profoundly alarmed about the future of the DNC in the country after Zohran's stated support for globalizing the Intifada and Trotskyite economic policies, Summers said. Well, Larry should have been profoundly alarmed years ago when his party began letting the inmates run the asylum, thank you very much. The radicalism was supported and nurtured for years. It was tolerated, even fed by the establishment Democrats, who were so preoccupied with fear-mongering about Trump and conservatives.
This question is about whether or not our democracy will endure, whether or not our democracy will survive. You would have a United States of America that would be unrecognizable to us, that would be one that you'd see more in Putin's Russia. They are happy with or comfortable with the notion of autocracy, of dictatorship.
What the president is doing is once again patently false. It's morally wrong. And yes, it is racist.
Thanks, Michelle. Straight from Martha's Vineyard. Now, as they were all suffering from TDS, their party was turning into a far-left laboratory run by socialists, Marxists, and communists. Add to this the open border, uncontrolled immigration, hundreds of thousands allowed through abused refugee admissions. And the country itself starts to get remade, doesn't it? Stephen Miller hit the nail on the head in a post on X last night, writing in part that unchecked migration fundamentally remade New York City, the electorate there. Democrats changed politics by changing voters. That's how you turn a city that defined our dominance, into what it is now. Now, what's increasingly obvious, folks, if you want to preserve America as we've known it, you need to get as far away from today's Democrats as possible. If Schumer ends up surrendering to the socialists, the rest of the Democrats are on their way to surrendering as well. So unless rich New Yorkers band together, donate a lot of money, and create a groundswell for a viable alternative to Mamdani, another great American city is going to swirl down the drain. And when it does, the rest of us should not be on the hook to bail it out. This is their decision. This is their choice. And that's the angle.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.